Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Donovan Jordan, and today's video is going to be the pros and the cons of being a flight attendant. Everyone keeps asking, I want to be a flight attendant. What is it like? What is it like? What is it like? Today I'm going to give you the full rundown of the pros and the cons of this lifestyle. For some people, it's pretty simple, it's adaptable, it's easy, and you know, they get it, it works out. For others, it's not the same. So I kind of want to be realistic today and just kind of talk about what this lifestyle is like. It's not just a job, it's an actual lifestyle. And from this video, hopefully you can kind of take some things away from it, and this will help you determine whether or not you want to be a flight attendant. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. Comment below if you have any questions about the pros and cons, and also subscribe if you already have not. First, we're going to get to the pros. We have the traveling, we have the hotels, the lifestyle, the culture. All of that is great. You get to travel. That is the main reason for having this job, being able to travel from A to B to C, getting to go to all of these places for either the first time, the second time, third time, or just being able to experience different cultures. You get to stay in different hotels that the company provides. You don't pay for anything out of pocket when it comes to staying overnight at hotels. They'll even give you money towards food. Prior to being a flight attendant, I hadn't really experienced much of the US, and now that I'm a flight attendant, I only have a few states that I can count on my hand left to go. But con, you're not able to live at home. So what you'll have to do is find a crash pad to stay in. What a crash pad is a flight attendant, a house where all flight attendants and pilots kind of live together. You know, you guys kind of share a house, you guys share a room. There can be up to 6 people in one bedroom, and with very little bathrooms, like maybe 2 bathrooms and a 3-bedroom household. So, you know, living in a crash pad isn't the best thing, and typically when you're on reserve or you're a new flight attendant, I guess, you're going to have to stay in a crash pad because it's kind of, you're not going to be able to really afford to live in your own apartment. You're constantly on the go, you're working so much, and maybe within a month you're probably off. I'll say maybe 10 days, but you won't be home for the full 30 days. So it's kind of pointless to buy an apartment if you're not going to be there the entire time. Pro, the spontaneous lifestyle. You get to experience so many things. You know, one day you're in New York City, the next day you could be in London. One day you're in Chicago, the next day you could be in Brazil. You could be in Miami, or you could be in, you know, Spain. There's so many places that you could be. You'll get a call from crew scheduling calling you to say, hey, you need to be at the airport in 2 hours, because guess what, you're gonna be in, who knows, Paris. You know, it's extremely exciting. Like, I have friends who literally travel from, you know, Chicago to London and back, and you never know where you're gonna go. I remember for the first time I got a call to go to LA, and I'm literally sitting in my bed in DC like, I'm going to LA today. But the con to that is, it's a spontaneous lifestyle. So every day is not going to be some extreme place you're going to go. Sometimes you kind of go to the smaller cities. You know, you don't always go to the bigger cities. Maybe you're in New York, but you're not in, you know, New York. You're actually in Rochester or maybe Syracuse. You're not going to always go to like a major city when you go to these states. You may have to like stay in a small town, a small area surrounded by nothing. There are a lot of hotels that you go to that you are kind of maybe off of the highway with nothing surrounding you. Every night you don't stay in a luxury hotel. Sometimes you do. There are some great hotels that you stay in. They make sure that you stay in a decent hotel for the most part. But sometimes you don't stay in the actual luxury hotels with, you know, suites and balconies. You may get that corner room. You may get a small room. You know what I mean? So you just have to make the best of that spontaneous lifestyle. Sometimes you have super early call times. So, you know, while the spontaneous life is getting up to go to LA, you have to be realistic. So you're more than likely going to have to be up at 3 or 4 a.m. to catch a flight at 6 o'clock that's going to take you to LA early enough that you can enjoy it. Or maybe you may catch a flight later on in the day. There are some times where you have to catch a red eye and your flights start late at night because you're going to be working the flight from midnight to about 2 a.m. So you have to kind of like keep that in mind. There are a lot of trips like these where you're going to work turns, and what a turn is you're going from Miami to Brazil, but you're not staying in Brazil, you're coming back to Miami that night. So you don't necessarily get to even get out and enjoy these great cities. There are trips where you're gonna go from Miami to Brazil, Brazil to Miami, Miami to Brazil, and Brazil back to Miami, and then you're gonna be done for the day. So you'll be working the full day going back and forth to Brazil, or going back and forth to another state, or, you know, a major city, but you don't actually get to stay in those cities. Or you kind of have one last leg, one last flight to a random small town. And sometimes you never really know, especially if you're on reserve. Pro, When you are a line holder can pretty much dictate their schedule, and you get to decide your actual schedule. You can, you know, find time to spend time with your friends, your family, go home or get out, or maybe go to an event, a concert. It is great being a line holder. But the con to that is you're not going to be a line holder off the bat. Sometimes it takes up to a year to even be a line holder, even longer, depending on your company size and how many tenured flight attendants they have. For the most part, you're going to be on reserves. It is very difficult. It's easier to lose your job as a flight attendant in your first 6 months of probation on reserve. It's so crucial that you answer every call, go on every trip. Even if you call out sick, you still could get penalized for that and possibly lose your job. It isn't completely horrible, but I will say for the first 6 months until you're off of probation, reserve life is going to be pretty tough. Pro, 3 letters, KCM. KCM is also known as known crew member, and what KCM is a fast pass. What it is that you take your badge and you go through a separate part of TSA where you don't get scanned, you just go directly through, and you and your crew get to the gates so much quicker. So instead of waiting in the long lines, having to get your things scanned, you go directly to your gate through KCM. That is a great part of being a flight attendant. It'll save you so much time. I can say, and I don't recommend, but I can say when I go through KCM, I actually show up to the airport maybe 30 minutes prior to my flight, because I can just kind of walk through. As you know, as a regular, you know, person that's on a flight, you probably have to show up maybe 2 hours prior to your flight to make sure that you get through TSA, you get your things scanned, and you know, just make sure that you have enough time. But for us, we can kind of cut it last minute, because through KCM, typically, because there are times where you will get randomly screened, but typically you can get through KCM in little to no time. Con. So while you can fly anywhere, you can do a lot of things, you want to make sure that you are ready and available for the 6-month probation period. You typically don't have that many days off, and if you have about 2 days off, you want to make sure you're not spending it in another country. It's extremely important to know that you have to be ready and available for whatever trip that they send you on. You'll get a call out time. Typically it's 2 hours. They'll call you and say, hey, we need you to be to the airport within 2 hours for this trip. But you want to make sure that, you know, you're not somewhere stuck or not even in your city. I know a lot of people try to go home within 2 days, but you want to kind of factor in traveling. So if you're off for 2 days, you do know that if you go home that first day that you're off, you're probably going to have to fly back the next day. So do you really want to go home if you're only home for about 12 hours? Because you kind of got to factor that in. I really, truly wouldn't recommend, like I said, going anywhere that requires you to travel more than 2 hours, because you want to make sure that you can get back at a decent time. And not only that, every trip that you sign up for and you try to get on is not necessarily guaranteed. So if you don't make the first flight, and who knows when the second one is coming, and who knows if you make the second one, you want to just make sure that you're going to be back in time, especially if they need you or if they call you. Oh, pro is the uniform itself. You look great with it. The people that work in the airport, typically when they see that you have a uniform on, you get priority boarding. So you get to board before everyone else. You get to board with the crew that's actually working the flight and getting your seat. Sometimes you even get first class when you're wearing the uniform. So it's very important to wear that with pride, and you want to look good. You want to feel good about wearing the uniform because it looks great on you, I'm sure. So the uniform has so many pros to it. You get discounts, priority boarding, you get to go with the crew, you know, everyone looks at you, and of course, you know, you just kind of wear it with pride. But the cons of the uniform is a lot of maintenance to that uniform. So when wearing a uniform, guys, I do want to let you know that you have to be tailored. It has to fit perfectly. It cannot be too short. You want to make sure that it is wrinkle free. That is a big thing. It is wrinkle free. You cannot chew gum in the uniform. You cannot be on your phone in a uniform. Uphold a certain standard in that uniform, and it is very important. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's just a uniform, why is that serious? There are people that work in certain departments in these airports that watch for flight attendants who are not in proper dress code, and if you don't get a proper dress code, you can get penalized for that. You do have other flight attendants who will say something about it as well. You're representing the company, and you want to make sure at all times that you look your best. You don't want to like see someone in a wrinkled uniform, completely unbuttoned, chewing gum, and looking as if they don't, you know, care about, you know, who they work for, what they're working for. You have to remember you're representing this company no matter where you go. There are certain standards and rules that you have to abide by when you're wearing these uniforms. Pro, you're meeting flight attendants, you're meeting pilots. You are meeting people who share this lifestyle experience with you as well. So that is a great thing. You get to meet people. It's easier to become friends with these people because they're going through the exact same thing that you're going through. Sometimes you work with them more than once. You guys can travel together. It's so much easier to travel with other flight attendants that either work for your company or work for another company, but it's so much easier to travel with them because they understand the lifestyle. But the con to that is you're working so close with flight attendants. Now the thing about it is, in any lifestyle, when you work with people, when you work closely with others, there can be drama, there can be messiness going on. So you have to kind of try to stay above that. While this lifestyle is nice and it's spontaneous and it's fun, it does have its moments where, you know, you're running across people who, you know, that may not necessarily understand you, or they may not agree with certain things that you say and do. When you work with flight attendants, you have to keep in mind that there are some flight attendants who've been doing this for 20+ years, so they have a specific way that they do certain things. If you're new, everyone isn't always the friendliest, but sometimes they can be extremely rude. Some people don't talk to you altogether, and you know, there are cliques in the flight attendant world, believe it or not. So those are things that you have to kind of pay attention to and look out for. You want to make sure that you do that all the time. Another con that I did forget to mention earlier was when you're going through KCM, so it's great that you get to go directly through it, but the only thing about it is you cannot be completely in casual wear. You need to be in business casual, or at least look somewhat decent, I guess. You can't just walk in your, you know, your slides, joggers, no, you know, like a wrinkled t-shirt and, you know, your big shades if you're going on a trip. If you're not in uniform and you're carrying anything in your bag that's not travel size or that's not TSA approved, they have the right to throw it away. They have a right to trash it. They have a right to get rid of it. So you have to remember, when you're not in your uniform and you have like a large bottle of shampoo or a big bottle of lotion or so many liquids, they have the right to say, hey, these have to go in the trash, even if you are a flight attendant. When you're in uniform, almost anything can go with you, no matter what the size is. But when you're not in uniform, things must go in the trash. And so yeah, guys, that is a quick, brief overview. That is the pros and the cons of being a flight attendant. If you want to live this lifestyle, everyone deserves to at least try it one time. And if you don't, that's fine, it's okay as well. But those are the pros and cons of being a flight attendant. And you know, if you want to do it for you, I say go ahead and do that. Guys, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Comment below if you have any questions, or if you want to talk about the pros and the cons, or if you are a flight attendant and you know there are more pros and cons to it. Please list that below for people that are paying attention or that are watching the video. Thanks so much for watching my channel, guys. Don't forget to subscribe.